Hi everyone, this is Dragon GGY. This is the 8th episode of Module Review Update covering modules that we got from the 2024 CNY event as well as the latest Rainbow Six Siege Collab 2.0. As always, to catch timely updates of module reviews, you can check out the online Google Sheet and you're welcome to join my Discord server for discussions. Without further ado, let's get started. First up, Mountain Y. Although the base effect shortens his attack interval by merely 2 frames, it's nonetheless DPS improvement for him. Something you may not dig up at first glance is that increasing attack speed and crit chance not only brings damage, but it also triggers the attack reduction more, so that will add to his survival. The module overall brings about 25% of improvement to damage, which is average for damage ops. The minus side being how his skill 3 locks the crit chance at 75%, which makes the crit chance upgrade irrelevant. But other than that, if you only use his skill 2 for AFK, then a level 1+ is definitely good. Next we have Chongyue with the Fighter X module. Having 4 SP on kill will cut off 1 auto attack from a post warm-up skill 3 cycle, so that's a good cycle DPS improvement. But unfortunately, the 1 SP when you don't get kills from level 3 do not change anything post skill 3 warm-up. You can argue that it can be impactful for skill 1 or skill 3 during the warm-up. You can also go on and put it in the 4 Sway team after you pull Shu from the CNY banner to fill up that gap. But aside from models and the attack attributes, the level 3 effect really doesn't make any difference. 15% physical dodge from base is also least significant on Chongyue out of all fighters because he's the only one who strikes from a distance. Next, we have Shu. Not gonna lie, she is packed with good stuffs from head to toe, including this module. Base effect is an increase to her already skyrocketing HPS. The upgrades gives her passive HP recovery that is almost close to a post warm-up Sculptor skill 2. Sanctuary percentage that is close to or even higher than most Abjurers, and without the limitation of HP percentage. Last but not least, sewing on the tile she's already on upon deployment is just insane. That means that she has a built-in unconditional damage reduction and passive HP recovery. This is perhaps the most ridiculous survival package ever seen on a single operator. Definitely a level 3. For Zuo Le X, he's overall a character with a well-designed kit, and this module is more of the oil for the pots that help him work better. Sanctuary is effective on barriers, so that's double insurance for his survival. Bringing max tenacity requirement to 50% HP also helps a lot with his skill cycles, and synergizes with skill 2 very well. He simply needs to activate his skill 2 once to get into the rhythm. The upgrades further shorten his skill downtime, more attack attributes to help with his DPH, and most importantly to make the max tenacity HP threshold easier to reach. Again, if you invest in the module, you should go straight to level 3. Stopping anywhere else will unsync the Sanctuary and the tenacity HP threshold, making it extremely weird to use him. Next, let's go over Jessica Alter X. Like we said in the hindsight video, the base effect is an important function upgrade. That, combined with her skills extending her range, makes it even better. The upgrades brings longer shield duration and better durability for stalling, but honestly that wouldn't be any relevant for most daily content. Also, the upgrades and attributes are not very significant in improving Jessica's own offensive and defensive performance, since they focus more on her shield. For most players, I think level 1 is quite enough. Up next, we are going to talk about Ela Δ. She's currently the only trap master whose traps are proximity triggers, and the base effect certainly takes note of that. Being able to put Ela and her traps on any tile is massive for her playstyles. For mines, you can almost always find a tile to have them triggered, and for Ela herself, you can go aggressive when you want damage from her, or just find a random corner when she's needed for support. Being able to deploy on melee tile also works with her skill 2 where she gets the defense boost. Not that she can become a lane holder with that, but it can make her block for emergency when required. That was just the base effect. Upgrades also bring big improvement to damage potential with that 30% to 50% crit chance increase along with the 20% more crit damage. So higher DPH overall and higher DPS even without her traps and skills. This module is extremely busted. It's almost like 1/3 of Ela's strength. Speaking of R6 collab, Ashe also gets her second module after the mysteriously stupid first one. Not gonna go into the base effect much because aerial damage increase has almost become a niche in Arknights. The longer stun time from upgrades is the key. It makes sure that ammo count that can benefit from skill 2's attack increase will go up from 17 to 27. Combined with the new damage dealt to stun target increase brings a 43% damage improvement, which is impressive. For those of you asking why it isn't 30 bullets, it's because there's always a delay between the flashbang hitting its target and Ashe begins shooting. Unfortunately, there are also downsides to this on paper pretty nice module. First, damage amplifications are always calculated after defense, so there's no actual DPH increase. That's also because of 2, this module only gives a miserable 22 attack attribute, which is yikes. And finally, the damage dealt to stun target effect that comes with the talent upgrade is exclusive to only the stun from Ashe herself. External stun sources do not trigger this. So if we look at the comparisons, I don't think we've ever had one of these situations. Module X for sure, and its improvements are mostly in the upgrades, so level 3 is recommended. With that, we are now done with all the new modules, but I did make a good amount of adjustments to previous ratings based on the current state of the game, so let's go over these changes briefly. For Eunectes, the rating for both of the modules are adjusted so that they are closer. She's still pretty goated at soloing, granted that she can charge her skill, but she's still not that relevant both in daily and in hardcore. If you are just going for QOL, you can go with X. If you do want her to tackle the top elites, Y brings a good damage improvement. I'd say only do her modules if you use her daily. Saria's X module is amongst the best at its debut. It's more about the change in how we use her nowadays. Her role slowly transitioned from a ground healing option who can serve as a SP battery while tanking into a defender who can heal, which is a change of emphasis. For daily content, although Module Y came a bit later, it's really good on improving Saria's sustain. With Shu releasing, I think it's pretty legit that Saria is likely to settle into being a more defensive guardian, so I tuned down the ratings for the X module a bit. Next, we have Schwarz. Not a big change. We've talked about Posyamka's impact on her last year, but personally, I think that's nothing compared to the impact from Ray. Ray has a more flexible range, good DPH, and buff compatibility. So there's adjustments here to reflect on these meta changes. Hoshiguma Y. We speculated back then that Block 4 may have big applications coming, but in fact, most of the time we ended up dealing with them with other solutions. Therefore, here's the change, but recently you can argue that this module can carry more resources in RA. Rosa's module is still unparalleled in the whole game in terms of quality and improvement to operator. It's just her place being impacted by the release of Typhon. Her weight limitations as well as the questionable skill designs are still holding her back quite a bit. Last one on the nerf list is Chen's Y module. We did speculate that the module will help with her lane holding, but we did not expect the release of Dagenbrecher. It just makes less and less sense to lane hold with her, and I honestly will recommend going back to her skill spamming X module. Coming up next, we have a list of buffed ratings. Yato Alter X changing the module rating to remind everyone that more DP return is quite QOL for executors, and by now we should have a consensus on how good she is, so don't worry, it's worth it. Changes across the board for Lin X. It's been almost a year since this module released, and we've witnessed how much of a glow up it has been for this operator. It's literally happening right now with the latest contingency contract. One of the most performance changing modules in the game, and just one of those oil for a good machine cases. very crucial for using her, and she's in a pretty good spot in the meta right now. Next is Blaze X. It's quite straightforward, and I have not expected a module to bring this much of an impact to an OG AFK skill. This module is qualified for keeping up Blaze skill 2 for the challenge of 2024. Finally, we have Executor Altars module. Like Lin, this is just oil on a good machine. His talent makes good sense for a Reaper, and some nudge on the numbers bring him from good to great. Very crucial for using Executor Altar, and honestly this is almost guaranteed for operators that release with a module these days. And maybe sometimes in the future, where all operators will land with a module, the whole power system of module will change again. We just have to wait and see. And that's all for this episode. I hope it helped, and I will see you in another one. Bye bye.